I'm live.
Stay at a girlfriend's house. 3 days later,
I'm
Melissa
gonna do
overdosed on
something.
a drug cocktail made up of 4
I
prescription
think I'm gonna turn my mic off.
several of which she obtained
So we
on
can.
the internet. Oxycodone.
Stop and approach for identification. Please stop and approach for identification. Only employees of Blackwater Mines permitted to access mining equipment. Scanning.
And passes out. Within minutes, Melissa's brain ceases to function, and without any signal from the brain to prompt respiration, she stops breathing. Her heart ceases to beat, and she dies.
Ah, I'm inside somebody. Sounds wrong.
The only thing I would say to people on drugs is try to get off. Try to find something else. Try to find something in life that gives you happiness and get off the drugs. That's not the answer. Because you know what? Somebody like me is going to see you dead.
Yes. I'm walking up on me like that.
Dr. G. Russell.
Gotta go shoot your ass.
Most people don't get necrotic feet. Who is it who not get necrotic feet?
When Dr. G, medical examiner, continues.
Great. I don't want that. Bone cutter though.
Where 911 receives a call from Simon and Tommy. He claims his wife Kim is unresponsive and not breathing. Paramedics are dispatched to the caller's residence. A single room rental at a small hotel. There they find Kim and Tommy unconscious on the bed. She is disheveled and appears to have a terrible festering injury to her left foot. According to Simon and Tommy, Kim's husband of 10 years and pursued
Extraction process initiated. Keep away from extraction units while operational.
My bad.
Hostile trespassers detected. Employees are encouraged to remove trespassers before damage to extractor units occurs.
It's my TV. Oh, I gotta turn it down. My other outfit on.
the heart stops beating.
Ah! Son of a bitch!
Kim is transferred to the district medical.
Remove this individual from the premises.
Autopsy of Kimitani without any information about the patient.
Okay, I'm gonna scrap that.
Her hair is messed up. She hasn't taken very good care of herself.
Kim's teeth have been fractured at the gum line.
Some bad teeth.
Adequate uranium volume extracted and processed. Output quantity increased.
She had a breakdown of the skin over the buttocks, where she'd been in bed for so long. The skin starting to break. Two parts of back of her heel and her leg. There's no most of her foot. And we're talking about
circulation to the area, which results in the death and decay of body tissue.
That's disgusting.
This how far does this infection go?
As she dissects the gangrenous tissue of Kim's foot, it runs through the skin.
Detecting terminated management personnel. Remove this individual from the premises.
Once I examine his blood, I know how deep that infection is.
But would something? Was it the cause of the death? Or only a symptom of a deeper medical problem? For those answers, Dr.
Adequate uranium volume extracted and processed. Output quantity increased.
Into the lab.
Scrap everything out
Culture,
here,
identify it, and
drop
study.
everything I don't
I'm
need.
actually trying to grow bacteria that may be infecting the foot that would possibly show us what type of bacteria or infection is in the blood.
And while getting the culture results may take several days, there is one conclusion Dr. G can draw right now.
Her foot was so bad, I'm sure.
Abandoned sleep. Illness. No medical records. Dr. G now has two concerns. But she must also answer the question, why does this woman apparently given the disturbing circumstances so far, Dr. G and discovered that that's it.
There's a lot of things wrong.
Adequate uranium volume extracted and processed. Output quantity increased. Detecting terminated management personnel. Remove this individual from the premises.
She is highly determined that Kim was in full health, and suffering with an infected foot that should have been amputated, and she observed that Kim was apparently not receiving medical attention.
She really didn't have any idea enough for anything like that.
Now Dr. G must answer two difficult questions. What exactly killed Kimitani? And could her husband's inaction have contributed to her untimely death?
Okay.
Let's fix that.
In order for Dr. G G to judge whether Kim's death was the result of negligence, she must determine if her husband failed to protect his wife from harm.
Is it neglect? Is it
Adequate uranium volume extracted and processed. Output
But
quantity
before
increased.
Dr. G can draw any conclusions as to the as Dr. G opens the
Almost done. I got 3 seconds. I gotta figure out what to draw here.
Extraction complete. Extractors must complete cleaning and ventilation process before continuing operation. Please vacate.
her liver too was
Claim from Elizabeth S22 Ultra.
disease. Some of her heart's coronary arteries are
Do I need to mute it?
My alarm went off.
Wait a second. Let me get to the house.
a massive
Be right back.
infection.
Get your stuff. I gotta wait another.
It's a good job.
Give me another 48 minutes for another event.
Kimitani's multiple problems.
Every hour on the hour, I'll do one of those.
Yet, as a medical examiner,
And
Dr.
in
G
between those
recognizes
events
a
there,
connection
I'll
between
go
them
do my
all.
quest.
She actually looked like she
Red,
had
blue.
diabetes
Huh?
just by doing the
Pink,
autopsy.
red, blue.
Diabetes
Oh,
is a
shit, I
chronic
dropped-
disorder caused by the body's inability to produce or use the hormone insulin, which causes excessive and potentially fatal levels of sugar, or glucose, to build up in the blood.
There's some overtime
You
on
notice I
people
don't
that
eat
say
popsicles,
diabetes,
I don't do a
and
lot
it's
of
becoming
sweets.
Yes, I noticed. 4,
Most of the
please.
time,
Huh?
4,
critical
please.
blood sugar levels can be managed successfully through diet, medication, and in some cases, insulin injections. But even with treatment, diabetes harbors many complications, such as heart and kidney disease, as well as atherosclerosis, a narrowing of the blood vessels throughout the body. Diabetes can also lead to
Said 4,
blindness
but okay.
and even nervous
Sorry.
system damage.
There's so many things that having diabetes can affect long term. And you don't see those things right away, but if you have it unchecked and have that long term elevated glucose,
Be careful.
in
Smells and
5,
systems
10,
might
15 years, you're going to get all that.
I'll get to Sugar Grove when I'm done.
Dr. G strongly suspects that Kimitani's death was related to diabetes. But in order to prove it, she needs to have a blood sugar test run to determine whether or not Kim's glucose level was high. On the living, checking for
I got a
diabetes
gamma
is
gun?
simple, but on the dead,
Oh.
it becomes more complicated.
I think I know what I'm
What
doing.
I check is 2 things. I can check the urine to see if you're spilling sugar in your urine. That's not the best test.
I
But
just
I can
can't
check
shake these
your eye
nightmares.
fluid. And your eye fluid
Oh, that's the gamma gun. Okay. Stupid idiot. Oh, railroad spikes and the shotgun shells need to go in.
And I can get the sugar level or the glucose level in your eye fluid.
It's only a 1
When
star.
the results of Kim's
Hey,
post-mortem
babe.
glucose test come in a few weeks later,
Get this thing.
Dr. G is shocked by the numbers.
It's a rail-
A normal
Railroad
post-mortem
spike
would be close to
weapon.
0. Kim's is over 300.
It was 378. Massively elevated and clearly diabetic.
But Kim's diabetes wasn't just severe. Microscopic analysis confirms that it was long-standing as well.
I took them under the microscope. She's got some changes in her vessels that we often see with diabetes, changes in her kidneys we often see with diabetes. So there were definite evidence of long-standing diabetes with her.
Moreover, lab results conclude that Kim's foot infection wasn't confined just to her limb. It was in her blood as well. Kimitani had sepsis, or blood poisoning.
What we call sepsis, the bacteria gets into the bloodstream and then it starts multiplying into your blood. And then you get the infection all over your body.
Once a person has sepsis, A cascade of complex and deadly events is triggered in the body in reaction to the massive bacterial infection. One of the most dangerous, an abrupt drop in the person's blood pressure.
It can actually cause your
I just can't
your
shake these
vascular system to
nightmares.
collapse. You can't maintain your
Floating in
blood
space
anymore. You
forever.
can't pump blood because your
Just
vascular system is
why?
collapsed.
Soon, major organs become starved of oxygen in their blood, and the body goes into shock, which in many cases can lead to death.
I'm actually gonna keep that
Dr. G now has her answer.
because
Well, ultimately,
when I do my, you know, the
bacteria in her blood due to her infected foot, which is a complication of diabetes. So ultimately, she died of diabetes, with the mechanism being the infected foot causing a sepsis or bacteria in her blood.
Dr. G now knows the cause of Kim's death, and normally the case would be closed. But given the circumstances, there's one more issue to contend with. Kim's husband. Did Simon's inaction contribute to his wife's death? Coming up next, Dr. G confronts Simon Itani.
Now, I specifically asked the husband, why would you not seek medical attention for her? Why did she not seek medical attention?
When Dr. G, medical examiner, continues. With lab results in her possession and the cause of Kim Itani's death now known for certain, Dr. G prepares for the next task at hand, speaking to Kim's husband. Dr. G found that Kim ultimately died from sepsis, a blood-borne bacterial infection caused by her gangrenous leg, a direct complication of diabetes. But she remains puzzled as to why Kim's husband Simon apparently did not seek medical treatment for
Floating in
her.
space
How
forever.
could she have diabetes right under his nose?
Why?
Dr. G returns to her office to call Simon and assess whether or not he might have been culpable in Kim's death.
I needed to put all the pieces together. So right after the autopsy, I talked to the husband and explained to him what was going on. One of the first things I asked him if he knew she had diabetes. He was pretty much in denial. He didn't think that could have happened.
He says she had high levels, which is diabetes, on the inside. Struck to hear a heart attack, something behind it.
So then I specifically asked the husband, why would you not seek medical attention for her? Why did she not seek medical attention? And he clearly stated she absolutely refused any medical attention because she'd had a bad experience previously. We didn't really elaborate what that bad experience was. She didn't like doctors. She didn't want anything to do with doctors, and she was not going to go to a doctor or a hospital or a healthcare facility. And that's he was trying to take care of it himself.
I spent 99% of my life to take care of her, every damn thing.
I mean, I admit it. I can have I've had bad experiences with doctors. But ultimately, find one you like and get care. And it's ridiculous to die for a reason you don't need to.
I just can't shake these
Okay,
nightmares.
Okay, bye-bye.
Floating in space forever. Just
After speaking with
why?
Simon Itani, Dr. G now has all of the information she needs to report the events that led to his wife's death, and to make a final decision on the question of possible negligence.
who should be responsible for it? Right here.
Her years of untreated diabetes have left Kim Itani nearly blind, and she also suffers loss of sensation in her extremities. She has difficulty walking, and at some point injures her left foot.
Because of elevated glucose, they can't feel. They don't feel as well as you or I. They bump into things more readily. If they have trauma, they may not feel it.
But because her blood vessels are narrowed by atherosclerosis, the injured area does not receive sufficient blood and does not heal properly. Instead, the wound worsens and becomes infected.
The food was like this big. So they did about pan. The cleaner's food was hydrogen peroxide.
Oh, kitty, you just scared the shit out of me.
I see the food's okay.
Chloe.
And
She walked right between my fucking legs and scared the tits
But
out of me.
Kim's foot was not okay, and the infection wasn't gone at all. It was simply deeper, and it turned into full-blown gangrene.
It went from kind of a wet-looking red and inflamed down to kind of a shriveled blackened, and it's actually just gone deeper. The outside tissue is already starting to really die.
Why?
He saw that as a sign of actually getting better.
Without any antibiotics to kill the bacteria, the infection spreads, and then it crosses into the bloodstream and begins to multiply. Kim developed sepsis, a life-threatening bacterial infection of the blood. From there, the effects are swift and catastrophic. That afternoon, when Simon returns home from work, Kim is feverish from the raging infection. The teeming bacteria throughout Kim's body trigger a sudden loss of blood pressure, which reduces vital blood flow to her body's major organs. Her heart begins to struggle to beat due to a lack of blood flow and oxygen. Kim loses consciousness.
I called 911. I had no idea what had happened. I messaged her wife. I'm gonna let can save her life. I thought maybe the ambulance can save her life.
The damage from the sepsis is too severe. On the way to the hospital, Kim goes into shock. Her heart, starved of oxygen, suffers cardiac arrest. Major organ systems begin to shut down, including the central nervous system. Doctors cannot revive her. At 11:24 p.m., she is pronounced DOA. As Dr. G sees it, what makes Kim's death so disturbing is that her diabetes was entirely treatable, and she could have lived a normal life. Furthermore, if Kim had received care even just a few days earlier, there's a good chance she could have survived.
Yeah, if she'd had that amputated maybe 3 days earlier, she must have.
How she died is now clear, but one question remains. Does the lack of care Kim received mean that she was a victim of neglect? In this case, Dr. G believes that ultimately the decision to not seek medical attention was Kim's alone, and Kim's husband was not at fault for any lack of care.
In this case, I don't see that there's neglect.
Why is your butt wet?
There is a problem with
You
the
slurp.
health of it. What was going on there? It's probably a lack of money, a hatred of the medical profession, and maybe some unsophistication with disease.
I know I had a recipe for both pets.
I will never get another girl AP as long as I live. No one else. The whole entire earth will do that.
He really cared. I could tell on the phone that he really cared. No matter whatever their story, you don't judge. I mean, everybody has different ways they live their lives. That's the thing, I see a different side
Everything.
of our
We're so
society
close.
and
I
human
can feel
life that a lot of people see. They're very
just can't
comfortable
shake
in their
it.
circle. My circle is everyone.
Space
And I
forever.
can see the shady side. I see how people live. I see how people live behind those closed hotels.
To Sugar Grove, where's you at?
And so,
I gotta go back to Sugar Grove. I just got done being in there.
Yeah, it's still
I gotta go back in there now. You know that door that we couldn't access at the end? That was locked always?
I think so.
This is the quest for it. I hope they get rid of those red lines in certain areas. Is that YouTube?
Yeah.
Huh.
It's got like 6 seasons.
Can you make a view on mine so I can count as a view sometime? I don't get no views anymore. Wish you could send that on your Facebook for me. This is also what I want to do if I can't get this. Actually, I really want to start streaming.
The fire crews extinguished the fire. They realized there was a body in the car.
A promising young man is dead, and no one knows how or why.
If he's dead when the fire started, that's very suspicious. The water was right from the
This ain't gonna take me 30 minutes.
Then, Dr. G investigates a bizarre tale of distress.
It was strange just because I couldn't understand why it took 4 days for somebody to make it to the hospital.
And a natural hospital death that may not have been so natural.
My mom was being accused of murdering my dad.
I don't know, but I do some research on that one.
Mysteries, shocking revelations. These are the everyday cases of Dr. G, medical examiner.
I've been here once already this week.
It's
Still clear or not?
Robert Terrible is celebrating in a bar in Orlando, Florida. The last 2 days have been a peak experience for this newly minted electrical engineer on his first professional job.
Oh shit. Assholes. Shoot at my
He's the
ass.
son of Haitian immigrants, watched his achievements with pride.
When you were fired, it lost.
Ow. Ow. Ow.
In addition to being a good student, Robert is also a popular fraternity member, and when he travels, he always connect with his fraternity brothers.
Robert loved to go out with his friend. What was special about him?
Tomorrow, he'll sober up and go home to his parents in New York.
He called me on Thursday and he talked to me and he told me, fix my room, I'm coming back.
With friends, cutting loose and drinking more than he usually does. At 3 a.m., Robert finally decides to call it a night. There's only
Boop-bop.
one problem. He has to drive back to his hotel. A parking attendant spots a car with its engine running. In the passenger seat is a man apparently sleeping. The attendant, however, does not wake the occupant and returns to his office. A half hour later, he gets the shock of his life.
Parking garage attendant starts hearing explosions, which I believe to probably be popping sound, which are tires exploding or glass breaking.
The man's car is engulfed in flames, and the horrified attendant can't even get near the vehicle.
At that point, he calls 911. 911 tells him to pull the fire alarm.
Yes, I'm calling from Central Garage. There is a car on fire and somebody is in the car.
Okay, hold up for the fire department, okay?
The car is exploding right now. And I don't think the person is able to get out.
Arriving on the scene, the Orlando Fire Department quickly puts out the fire. When the smoke clears, investigators get their first clear look at what is for them a most uncommon sight.
And to have a fire death in a car is unusual.
Less than 2% of all auto fires result in a death, and most of those occur as a result of crashes. reason? When a car fire starts, an able-bodied person inside will usually get out before being burned. Because the driver suspect that he was already dead when the fire started. It is not uncommon for the body of a homicide victim to be burned in order to help destroy evidence and thwart the investigation. Within an hour, a team of specialists arrive at the scene to investigate what could be a homicide. One is Dale Reynolds, an arson and bomb investigator with the Orlando Fire Department.
I received a case from our dispatchers that we had a car fire in a parking garage with a fatality.
You post it on there for me, dear.
We also asked for a homicide detective.
You post this on there on your Facebook for me.
Of the City of Orlando Police Department. And then also we asked for CSTs, crime scene technicians.
I appreciate you doing that for me, love.
When we started an investigation of the external of the car, of the parking
Hey,
garage, the area around it.
Anybody here?
We don't want to get around the body very much.
Oh, hello.
We don't want to destroy any evidence.
Guana stick.
Meanwhile, Chief Medical Examiner Jan Garibaldi.
Ooh, I got a plan for the revolver now. That was a lucky find. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why am I so heavy already?
Driving in, that there was a car fire in one of the
Oh,
garages
shit.
down. And I thought, oh, and that there was a dead body in one of the cars. And I thought, oh boy.
As soon as the medical investigator finishes documenting the site and removes the body, Investigator Reynolds begins his examination on the inside of the car.
Well.
His primary objective, find out the exact cause of the fire. It is a tedious process.
We took samples of the carpet in the driver's seat area. We took samples from the carpet behind the driver's seat, samples from the back seat, passenger side. We took samples from the seat where the occupant was actually sitting.
A lot of thoughts are going through your head of all the possibilities. And when I get to work, he was waiting for me.
At the start of most cases, Dr. G carefully reviews her medical investigator's field report.
So what I have, the information, is that there was a security guard, and he found a fellow who he thought was sleeping in the passenger side of the car. And about 30 minutes later, he notices a car fire. My understanding is there was an explosion, and sure enough, his car was on fire. It was consumed in flames, and there he is, very badly charred inside his car.
The scenario is rife with complex questions. What or who caused the fire? And how could a young man burn to death in a car? Unless he was
At this point, we didn't know a lot. We didn't know who he was. So a lot of possibilities are going through your head. Although we have the security guard stating that he saw him a half hour before, I mean, I don't necessarily believe him. And how does he know he's sleeping? How did he know he wasn't just dead in the car? Or did this guy maybe kill him? Is he trying to cover something up? Did he really even go on his round? Could be a million and one scenarios. I don't believe anybody.
While the list of unanswered questions is daunting, Dr. G is confident of one thing, at least for now.
The thought of homicide was right from the beginning.
Next, Dr. G makes a discovery with implications.
Even if nobody was asleep in the car and somebody else starts the fire, that's a homicide.
When Dr. G, medical examiner, continues.
Ass wipe.
I took more ammo than it was supposed to.
The charred remains of an unidentified fire victim.
There's more shots to kill that than if you needed to.
One of the
He
first
was in
things
my
I'm
way.
going to do is doing full body x-rays. Head to toe, we will x-ray that body.
Only hours earlier, the body was found in an Orlando parking garage in a car engulfed in flames.
Barbecue.
Because of the fire's mysterious circumstances, foul play is strongly suspected.
Why is he there? What caused him not to get out of the fire?
Now it's up to Dr. G to find answers to these and other complex questions.
All systems active.
One of the first priorities in a case involving a fire victim is to determine the victim's physical condition at the moment the fire began.
I have to make a determination, was he alive or dead? If he's dead when the fire started, that's very suspicious. He might have been placed there and then the fire started to cover up evidence.
Because it is nearly impossible to detect any injuries on charred remains externally, Dr. G must rely on X-rays to show her what she cannot see.
I have a man that is charred beyond recognition. Charred from the head to the
Identification detected. Restricted section access granted.
Because with all that charring,
You
with
found
the
me.
being gone, I could easily miss a gunshot wound.
Dr. G examines the developed film, and even
Yes.
before making a single
That's how it
incision,
started.
she can
Nobody
already draw
returned.
one tentative conclusion.
For years.
On
Flashes
the
of
X-rays, at least, there appears to be no sign of
cannot.
any trauma that could have
I
led to the victim's
I
death
brought you
before
here.
the fire.
Please. Load your...
The only injuries Dr. G can see on the film
Yes.
are those sustained
I am,
during
and then
the
I
burn.
think...
When she examines the actual corpse, she is faced with one of forensic pathology's most
You
daunting
actually made
challenges.
it.
Hello, again.
We should use a
Arcadian
rack.
burn victims.
I mean, don't listen to her.
I do not know.
Who he is.
You
I'm trying to
haven't
figure
used
out
a
if he's
racket?
white,
Subject
black.
declared. I did not wish to. I do not. No, do not. This experiment.
When I mean charred, I mean it's black. Its skin in most areas is burned off, and the underlying muscle is blackened from the burning, just like a charcoal briquette black.
During the external exam, one of Dr. G's first tasks is to analyze the body's
For
unique
all
burn
intents and
patterns.
purposes, it may be possible.
Burn patterns could confirm whether or not the victim was motionless while the fire burned.
The posterior back and buttocks.
The only certain way to say an experimental pet, this path is untested. The results,
Oxygen getting to that.
I am unsure if this would cure a subject, but there is a possibility.
The victim never moved after the car ignited. Another possible
Additional
indication
subjects
that he had
detected.
been dead before the fire started.
So that was all consistent with him sitting in that seat when the fire was going on.
In burn cases, there are specific parts of the body that can reveal even stronger indicators of when a person died: the nose and mouth.
What we're going to look for is breathing. Was he breathing the products of combustion? It would be carbon monoxide that he's breathing. He'd be breathing hot gases, and he'd be breathing a lot of sooty material.
If she finds no
Active.
soot,
Pathways
it's a sure
open.
sign that the victim was
Limited
not
control
alive.
granted to remote system. Access granted.
There is soot.
We find that sooty material
My head!
in his mouth, his nose.
What's happening?
It's important, but not conclusive. The
Confirmed.
soot in the mouth of the
This
nose
unit
could
is
simply mean that the smoke from the intense contained fire
This unit has
drifted into the open cavities.
no higher processing functions. This unit has no pain receptors. Accessing ethical parameters. Confirmed. Accepted.
She begins
You.
with the Y incision,
You have
and after
freed
opening the
me.
rib cage,
I
finds
can
that for the most part,
leave
the
this
victim's internal organs were not
Thank
affected by the heat.
Thank you.
Once we get past
Sophia!
that layer of charring
You all right?
and even the deeper muscles, it's going to look fine.
Dr. G takes fluid samples from
Emerson.
the victim for toxicology
Not
tests,
now.
and then begins her search inside
she-
the body's cavity.
Seem happy.
Because
I
the
don't
death
know
is
if
a
that was a
suspected
wise
homicide,
choice, Fred.
she looks carefully, once again,
What harm
for
could
any
giving her some
signs of foul
autonomy
play or
do
trauma,
exactly?
which may not have been
She's
perceivable
been
on the
trapped
X-rays,
in a hell
such
of
as
your
internal bleeding,
making
or perhaps
for
even
decades.
strangulation.
And my headaches are
Use some of the
less
power
severe.
to see if there's evidence of strangulation by
You certainly
hemorrhaging those
seem ready
muscles.
to embrace
But
the
here,
dramatic
too,
for a
she
solution
finds
that may
nothing
not
out
have
of the
even
ordinary,
actually cured
and no
you.
sign of injuries indicating
Emerson,
that the victim may have been
I don't
restrained.
care if
No
it's been
evidence of
decades
strangulation,
since you did
blood
those
in
things.
the
You
pleural
still
cavities, no
did them.
evidence of any type of trauma to the
I
chest
forgive
or
you.
abdomen.
But
But then She opens the respiratory
I
tract.
just don't want to see you.
Within
again.
seconds, she
Please
uncovers something
do
that
not
contradicts
visit.
almost every previous
Please,
assumption in the case.
just keep your
There's soot
distance.
in the victim's trachea
Okay.
and lungs.
There's soot all the way down. There was soot all the way into the main stem bronchi, going into each right and left lung. And when you cut the lungs, there's soot even in the tissue of the lung itself. That soot has gone all the way down into his lung tissue.
Oh. Well, that's a bit
This
much, don't you
finding is
think?
undeniable.
I mean, shouldn't we
The
remain
victim
civil?
was alive during the fire.
Okay, I'm leaving. Okay.
Once I saw all that sooty material
bye.
that he had hailed down his trachea into his lungs,
Thank you,
I
my
know
dear
he was
friend.
alive when that fire occurred.
Thank you for helping me through all of this.
Coming up next,
I'll see you back at our
the
campsite.
victim is identified and his family learns of his horrendous death.
They were kind of lost. They came here from New York. Nobody was telling them anything. It's just heart-wrenching what they're having to go through.
When Dr. G, medical examiner, continues. Dr. G has completed the autopsy of an unidentified young man found dead in a car fire. Her original hypothesis, that he was dead before flames engulfed his car, has been shattered by the discovery of soot deep inside the victim's lungs. Clear proof that he was alive after the fire started.
Without a doubt, he's breathing that sooty material in there.
With this finding, she can now determine the cause of death.
He died from inhalation injuries due to a conflagration, meaning a huge fire. And an explosion was heard, and that was consistent with everything that I found.
In other words, the vapor and smoke from the fire itself caused the victim's respiratory system to fail. What she still doesn't know is the manner of death. Was it a homicide or something else?
Well, why is he there in the passenger seat? How did this fire get started? What's he doing there? And why didn't he get out? A lot of that wasn't answered by just doing the autopsy. Right after the autopsy, I listed the things that I do know, all my facts, and then just say, well, we're going to pen this. We're going to have to pen it for the arson investigation. We're going to have to pen it for the toxicology.
But while Dr. G awaits these results, the homicide detectives uncover another lead. A cell phone is salvaged from the wreckage, and police manage to identify the victim through phone records. They immediately contact his family. The victim's name is Robert Paul Terrible.
I got a phone call around 4 o'clock. Do you know Robert Paul? And because we found a body, we found a cell phone, and right there and there I just knew it was him.
The mother and the aunt came, and I felt so bad for them. They were kind of lost. They came here from New York. Nobody was telling them anything. It's just heart-wrenching what they're having to go through. But you know what? The main thing is they just want the truth. They just want to know that somebody cares and is going to try to get the answers for them. And I think after talking to me, they felt confident that I was going to give them the answers the best I could.
Dr. G then learns from the family that the night of his death, Robert had been out at a party with some of his college fraternity brothers who live in the Orlando area. It's not much, but at least now Dr. G knows who the victim is, and some of the circumstances leading up to his death. It takes several more months for the preliminary results of the arson investigation to arrive.
Our job is to find the origin and the cause of the fire. And I would say in 80% of our cases, we know what caused it. The point of origin was somewhere in the driver's seat, at seat level, near the dash, but we couldn't come up with a definitive cause.
Alright, Chloe, move. Move.
But
Oopie oop. Love you.
Love you too.
Now I'm just fucking around trying to new events over there. What note? Fuck. My bad. Don't move.
Yeah. Ha! You got grit. I'm initiate Doc. I got word. It's critical that